Hey, Chris,
Yeah, Rod.
what do you do when the one leading the funeral is grieving too?
Well, lucky enough, we're going to get to answer that question today. We're going to have a very special episode that should be fun and interesting. We've got someone who helped me through the worst day of my life, and somehow I convinced him to come relive that with us.
So we have a pastor coming on today.
That we do.
We have nothing appropriate prepared.
And it's going to be fabulous.
Jeez, okay. If you say so.
I do.
All right. Hey, this is Rod.
And this is Chris.
We are Unqualified
And Unsupervised.
the show where two guys try to figure out life after loss with no experts, no scripts, just experience.
We're going to have the unfiltered conversations about hard topics that no one wants to talk about, but everyone should. Coming from a couple of guys who were forced to join a club we didn't want to join.
This part really matters more now. Briefly, to put a context to this, Willie isn't just a pastor.
No.
I mean, he was a part of your life, and he did your wife's service.
Yeah. So Willie was a friend of ours, became a close friend of ours before he went into the seminary. He was a band director. He and his wife, both band directors. They went to SDSU.
I'm sorry, but that's a leap. Band director, pastor.
But I'm ching because the school is the Jackrabbits.
What?
The college, SDSU, that they went to is the Jackrabbits, so of course it's a leap.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
Okay.
Here we go.
This is going to go bad. Okay, but go on.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, how did he get involved?
Well, no, he grew up in South Dakota on a farm, and his father was a pastor.
Oh, okay.
So he eventually realized he had the calling, and so he went to seminary after he'd been a pastor for several years.
Oh, no. Stop.
Sorry,
Okay.
been a band director for several years.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't.
And then he went back to seminary.
He wasn't being a pastor illegally.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I just want to make sure I clarify. Okay, got it. All right. Well, go from there. Tell me more about. Tell me more about him.
Tell me more about him. So, because I have a degree in music education,
Okay.
and most of my friends have degrees in music education. We all friends here in North Iowa. We all know the band directing community real well.
Sure.
So we got to know each other really well, and became very close friends. And so it was interesting to have a friend who was a band director and a pastor.
Right.
Once he went through.
That's a very unusual combination. That you don't see that every day.
No, you don't. And he's really good at both. And in fact, you should see him play jazz saxophone. It's stunning how good he is at it. Like he could do that professionally if he wanted to.
He's talented.
He's talented. And he's a hunter. He cures and makes his own meats. He smokes his own meats.
Okay.
He's amazing at all of those things.
I'm sure there's something inappropriate about somebody who cures their own meat, but that could be a subject for another time.
Well, and we could ask him about it. He'd tell us.
Okay. Sure.
He went through college as a musician first. So
okay. All right.
He understands
before he opened his locker and his church, he went to music school. Got it.
Yeah. So he understands.
So he knows the term
world.
caping.
He probably does.
All right. Even I know that one, which is amazing. I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't tell our listeners what that means.
What caping is?
Yeah. I know. Go ahead.
No.
Because there's probably people who don't know what that means.
What caping isn't that where you cut the animal, like when they're freshly killed, you cut their head off?
I have actually never heard that term.
You know what? Before we quantify that might be worth a Google search.
So anyway, we're talking about Willie.
Yep.
And getting ready to keep moving here.
So band. Okay, let me.
Band director, pastor.
Yep.
Really good friend. And was also very close with Janice.
And now is he married at the time?
So married.
Okay,
married.
So
kids.
as couples, you know each other. Okay.
Oh yeah,
you're friends as couples.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. They actually had the chance. They moved back and they lived within about 15 miles of here.
Sure.
He was leading the church, and she was the band director in the community school. Imagine that.
Didn't see that coming.
No, right?
Yeah.
So and we became really close friends. So he became a really important part of my support mechanism when Janice was sick.
Right. So when she got, maybe this is leading just a little bit, but when she got sick, he was kind of always in the background for you.
Well, yeah, because when she first got sick, we were a member of a local church here.
Oh, okay.
But we did not have a good experience with the pastor.
All right.
In fact, we've never had a good experience with pastors. They always, in our experience, tended to be something less than they should have been.
Did you think not to get onto this, but do you feel that their lives did not line up with, like their actions didn't line up with what they were preaching?
Complete hypocrites.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Complete hypocrites.
Yeah. But somehow Willie wasn't this person,
right? Because they're not all that way. I'm not going to make a carpet general statement about that.
No, but
our experience had been that,
right?
And then when that happened at the church we were at, and we left it, we just never felt comfortable with one in the area. You know, so he's what we had, and he was there for us. And when it came down to funeral time,
right,
we didn't have a church,
right?
So we were just going to have a service at the funeral home, and I didn't even know who was going to do the service. At that point, I'm so out of it. I had no idea.
Right.
And he calls me and he's like, "Okay, I've got it. I'm going to do your service for you."
Huh?
And I'm like,
"What?"
Okay, that's all I could say. I wanted to say, "Are you kidding me? You're going to do a funeral service for a very close friend that you love dearly and that you're grieving for too."
Right. How does that work?
Right?
Yeah.
And but I couldn't. All that came out of my mouth was, "Okay," because I knew he was going to argue with me if I said no.
Right. Like it was like, we can arm wrestle about this, but he's going to win.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So he stepped up to the plate and wound up doing that for us and organizing the whole thing. And we wound up having to move it to a church across the street from the funeral home because we didn't have enough room in the funeral home.
Right.
And once I realized we weren't going to have near enough room,
right,
I didn't know what to do. And
you never know who's going to show up.
Right. And Willie sensed that before I even had a chance to do anything about it. And he just walked up to me and said, "I already talked to Zion across the street. We can have the service there."
Yep.
I'm like, okay, good.
Right. Because you needed a place that would hold easily 400 people. 450 people. Yeah.
I think it was more than that.
Right. But they have a great overflow.
Yep. And that worked out great. So
cool.
He took care of all of that for us.
Right.
While he was in the middle of grieving as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
I cannot wait to hear this story.
It's going to be a good story.
Yeah.
So I'd reveal more now, but I want to do it with Willie here.
All right. Yeah. He needs to tell the story.
Yes.
Hey, before we talk to Willie, I just want to put a pause on this for something that just came up. People say the most outrageous things, and I mean, I know they're well-meaning and everything. So I think we need to address.
They are
like what do you say? What do you not say? Things like, "Oh, God needed another angel." Yeah. Well, why didn't he take your boyfriend? Why didn't he take your husband? Your
right.
Right. Like why mine?
Exactly.
And
it's not helpful.
Right. I mean, so I mean,
she's in a better place.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
Really?
I want her
really?
here.
She's in a better place than here taking care of her boys. So they can be raised well.
Yeah. I'm selfish. I'm going to borrow a line from a movie. I'm selfish. I want them here.
Right.
I want them here cooking. I want them, if we're not doing anything but watching TV together, they're sitting in the room next to me.
Right. They're there for you.
They're there.
And or so what are you going to do with the house?
Really?
Yeah.
You got that one?
None of your damn business. I mean, it's a big house. We have a big house.
She's not
we had
cold.
A big family.
She's not even cold.
Not even cold yet.
Like you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry you're dying, honey, but I got the realtor on speed dial."
Right. And I took a breath and stepped back rather than chucking the living shit out of him, which is what I really wanted to do. And I was like, well,
you're tempted. You're tempted.
I'm hoping the question was more about, are you going to be able to stay in the home without the salary and all of that stuff, which I was, but
clearly because we're sitting in it. Yeah,
we are.
Yeah,
not the way to ask that at all. So
wow,
one of the best comments I got.
Okay,
this was a good one. Before the funeral started.
This is like the day of the funeral. Like
we're in the church. We're in the church
right before the service starts.
Right.
Okay.
People are filing in, getting ready to go. Almost everybody's in the church, and they're just about ready to close the casket and take her down front. And this person walks up to me and goes, "I see you took your wedding ring off already."
All right.
I'm like, are you kidding me? What the hell
Right.
You know, very judgy, little Miss Judgy Judgerson. I mean, she's very judgy about everything anyway, but, you know, very much so.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just looked at her.
How'd you handle it?
Well, I looked at her and said, well, no, I just had my last moment with her. I took my ring off. I put it in her hand and closed the casket. And that's exactly what she did. Just looked at me, couldn't say anything.
Well, I'm going to cry. I mean, because yeah, there's judgment, but what a beautiful,
right?
What a beautiful thing to do.
I didn't need it anymore, you know.
Right?
She did. So
I'm going to cry.
Plus, I got to shove it up her ass that way too. You know, it made me feel really good.
Wow, that's an amazing thing. I mean, and you did it just naturally. It just was something that you just did naturally.
I just came to me as I was standing there saying goodbye to her.
That's what I'm saying.
It just came to me. I looked down at my ring and I'm just like, I don't want to see this every day.
Yeah.
And I think she should have it.
Oh.
So now she has them both. And
that's amazing.
You know, so
it's a great story. I mean, it serves the dual purpose of sentiment as well as up yours, lady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
And it was a woman.
Yes, it was.
Well, that's
somebody who was supposed to be close to us.
Well, that's amazing. You know, I mean, the other one is, if there's anything that I can do for you, you call me. One of the things that I learned after Jeff died was I didn't reach out.
Yeah, I didn't.
You know, and that's what I learned. Grieving people don't reach out. You have to reach out to them.
Right.
And that's the important part of it. You know, I'm not reaching out for you to you.
Right.
I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
No, I have no idea what I need.
Right.
No idea.
But if you just a simple text, how are you doing today?
Right.
What's happening today?
Yeah.
You know, and especially around holidays. Mm-hmm. And I know that's going to be a subject we're going to talk about.
It is.
You know,
eventually
later.
in a later show.
Yes. So. But just like, if there's anything you need,
well, there's always the you know, the old standby that they always use on TV shows. Well, can you bring Janice back?
Oh yeah.
I've never said that. I mean, that's just.
But you're tempted.
I am, but it's also then me just being a prick too, and I'm not going to do that.
Right.
So
well, no, but people, I know they're well-meaning, but mm-hmm. What we're taught at the funeral home is hush, hug, and hover. These are very important things, and a lot of times, an "I'm so sorry" and a hug. If they're open,
that's
for
perfect.
It, you know, and also ask for permission. Is it okay if I give you a hug?
Right.
Because there was we worked a service this weekend and knowing, going full well into, I knew this girl in high school. I cut her hair, and she's an introvert. I mean, like a complete introvert. I mean, so that's why, you know, like mm-hmm. I said you're getting the hug, and she did. She went mm-hmm. with it, but she's not that person. You know, not everybody wants that touchy-feely. And she left that day. She had buried, her mother and father were gone. She'd buried both of her brothers, and she's alone.
Wow.
And I just remember watching her walk out of the funeral home and thinking that was really sad, you know, because she had to drive home. She had to drive an hour. But I said something to the funeral director, and she said, you know, Rod, that's probably the best part of her day because she's no longer around people.
Right.
She said it right up front. I am an introvert. I do not like being. Everything went really well. People showed up. I mean, that surprised her, and she handled it really, really well. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, that aloneness actually was a comfort to her.
Right.
You know, which was right. You don't see that.
But that's because, you know, you start to realize pretty quickly that the reason things are awkward is because they're uncomfortable.
Right.
They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say.
Right.
And so then you try to make them feel more comfortable.
Right.
And that takes too damn much energy when I'm grieving. Well, especially that much energy. I don't want to expend any energy. I just want to sit and be. You know, one of my best things one of my best friends did for me during the wake and during the funeral is at times he just came up and he stood next to me.
Yep. Just presence.
Didn't say a word.
Yep.
Just stood next to me and looked around. And at one point, one of our mothers came up to me afterwards and was like, that was really awkward when he just stood there like that. I was like, no, that was exactly what I needed.
Right.
That's exactly what I needed.
I didn't need words. I didn't need touch. I just there.
He was there for me, and I didn't have to expend any energy to have him be there.
Right.
And that was perfect.
And I think we're going to talk about that too. What to do for the person, with the person after everybody goes home.
Right.
I think that's the subject we're talking about.
Yep. That'll be a future show as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But since right here, what we're talking about is what stupid things you heard and not to say.
Right.
You've already just said some of the best things are, I'm sorry.
Right. Sorry, and a hug, and sometimes asking for the permission to do it.
And just be there.
Right.
I had friends who would just come over, they'd bring a 6-pack and we'd sit and we'd watch a movie and not talk the entire time.
Right.
Other days we couldn't watch the movie because I couldn't stop talking about it.
Right.
But you just got to let that person lead the conversation.
I think that's an important
part. And don't try to
lead
lead them.
Right. That's an important part of it.
Yep.
Just go with whatever they're going with that day, because it's erratic and it's unpredictable.
Right.
And there's no right or wrong. It's not linear.
No.
You hear that over and over, that grief is, and it's like, you should be over this by now. It's been 3 years. You know this, right? Are you kidding?
Well, true grief is linear in the fact that you never get over it. It's not linear in how it affects you. It's up and down.
Yep. I agree with that. That's crazy. It's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Let's have more scotch. Let's do that.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, let's do that.
Now we can talk to Willie?
I think now's a good time to talk to Willie.
All right, let's do this. Well, let's hit the unpause and tell us, let's bring Willie into this conversation now.
Yeah, so we got Pastor Willie Rosin right here. And as we've said before, he did Janice's funeral, which was, a great time. So Willie, hello. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Willie, it's good to have you here. And we've got such a fun, light topic to talk about tonight. And so we're talking again about when the pastor giving the funeral service is also grieving for the person that they're giving that service to. And so, what was that like for you, doing the service for someone that you knew and cared for?
It was both wonderful and really painful, and also, frankly, really an honor in many ways, because, I met, I don't remember exactly how we met, Chris, but I know that it was through the group of Clear Lake guys with Nate and Reagan.
Yeah, and all the band directors.
All the band directors, yep. And you were Jen's Riemann rep. And we got close because our sense of humor lines up, our interests line up. We love to hunt and fish, and
you drink beer too. You drink beer?
I do enjoy beer.
All right.
I do enjoy beer, and putting my friends into a meat coma.
Oh God, the best meat comas ever. Oh, oh man!
I don't know. The gay guy in the room is taking that maybe in the wrong way, but go on.
Take it however you want to take.
I will take that. I'm sure you're talking about actual like cow, pig.
Well, venison,
prime rib, brisket, venison,
nice.
Pork, ribs,
nice.
Willie
garlic
can process and smoke any meat, and it's amazing.
Yep, I did.
Well, my question,
ran back. Go ahead.
My question in all of this is how did you get to know Janice? What was your relationship with her? Because you knew her before. You knew her when she was healthy, and you knew her when she wasn't.
Yeah, so it was, I would say it's kind of a two-part, or at least two time segment type thing, where Jen and I first got married. We moved to Hampton, Iowa in 2002. I met Chris sometime in the next couple years, because I was playing gigs with our friend Nate, and he was the Riemann rep, and Jen was a band director in the area.
Were you in Nate's band? Nate had a band.
Yeah, the Last Minute Jazz Combo.
Yeah, you were in that?
Not necessarily Nate's band, but I was a sax player in that group.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. They were very good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a great time. Let's see, what was our slogan?
Well, I want to know how you and Janice knew each other.
Well, you just keep us right on task, don't you, Rob?
He does.
So I met Janice through Chris, through gigs and some barbecue stuff over at Nate's place. And Janice is very similar person to like my wife, Jen. Very organized, keeps the household running in the straight direction. And she really hit it off with the kids and with me, and hanging out, playing, Cards Against Humanity at Lakeside.
Oh, yeah, that's a great game. That's a great game.
I believe I was there when they brought out the bigger, blacker box.
Yes, you were. That was a good night.
Yeah, that was a good night. And Janice really, and so we were there from 2002 until 2010, and then we moved up to Montevideo, Minnesota for 5 years. And then in 2015, we came back to Britt. And of course, relationships hadn't gone away by any means, but it got a lot easier to see these guys when we got back there in 2015.
So were you a band director in all of this? Or when you were a band director, and then when did you make the transition to the ministry?
So I was a band director for a year.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of that year, I resigned, followed call to ministry, got into candidacy with the ELCA, and Jennifer was in her dream job of junior high band with Allison Bristow, and we didn't really want to move to Dubuque. So we hung out in Hampton for about 3.5 years before I started seminary full-time in 2006. And so then I was up in commuting over to Dubuque, did my internship in Owatonna, and then got my first call up in Montevideo, Minnesota, which is when we moved in 2010.
Quite a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a road. And we were really excited to get back into Iowa because we liked the Iowa band system better than the Minnesota system. And Jennifer was back in the NCIDA band district, where she knew lots of people and knew how the system worked and really loved it. And so Janice really loved our kids a lot.
She did. Well, they're great kids, but especially Lydia.
And
how many do you have? How many children do you have?
We have 5 kids.
Wow.
We have 2 biological kids. Grace is 22 and Isabel is 20. And then we adopted Lydia in 2014. And we adopted the twin boys in 2018.
Wow.
And so we adopted Lydia when we were still in Montevideo. And we adopted her at 8 months. And we moved down to Britt when she was about 1.5 years old. And of course, got together with Chris and Janice and the guys, and Lydia just loved Janice.
Yeah, she
absolutely adored her.
And Janice adored her too.
Yeah, she did. And Janice always had gifts for Lydia.
Yep.
I'll never forget, whenever we came over to like community band stuff in the park, we had to find Janice, and Lydia would just crawl up in her lap.
Oh, cool.
And snuggle with her. Yep, snuggled with her in the
stay there all night.
The lawn chair. Yep. Janice was one of Lydia's people, and I think it's safe to say Janice is the first person that Lydia knew really well that died.
Oh, sure. Right, because in 2015 you would have come back just after she had finished with colon cancer, and we thought everything was good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you came back. And we started actually getting even closer then, because she was healthy and we could.
That might be something we need to talk about, Chris, is about how do children grieve?
Sure.
How do we handle the grief of a child? That type of thing.
That could be another whole
great
show.
Subject. Yeah. But anyway, so you have this relationship with Janice, and you, when she starts, you knew her healthy, you knew her when she got sick. So what was what was the progression there?
I also knew Janice to be a pretty private person, in some ways. And so I didn't want to push myself into or push my way into, what was going on there. I tried to provide as much support as I could. If she wanted to see Lydia, we found an excuse to go over and see Janice.
That was that was how you supported. Because my question was, how do you show that support to someone who's sick?
Well, and that was one of the best things, because that would light Janice up anytime Lydia came in the door.
Oh, cool.
Anytime she got to see him. And same thing with Lydia. She would just light up.
Right?
Yeah. And really for me, as somebody who's worked with I was going to count how many funerals I've done. It's well past 100.
Sure.
Over 15 years of ministry. And the way for me is that people really appreciate being seen and experienced and encountered, not as somebody who is sick,
right,
but as somebody who is fully human. And you acknowledge that illness and the disease is there, but it doesn't define the relationship. It doesn't define how you treat them. It doesn't define the way that you're around them. Even more so, you try to highlight what they love and who they are, and appreciate, just who they are as a person rather than who they are as a cancer patient.
That's fantastic. I mean,
and that was the best part about hanging out with you guys, was that we could just be us. And
you weren't the
it wasn't
cancer.
about what we were going through.
You weren't the health. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we've talked about, one of the best things.
Healthcare providers, Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say, that's one of the best things. Like we say, the best things you can say to somebody who's grieving sometimes is nothing.
Right.
Just be there with them.
Yeah.
Presence.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like with Chris, how do I support Chris? I call him up and say, let's go pheasant hunting.
Yep.
All right. Right.
Do you need some time away? Let's go do something.
Right. And on a side note, for pheasant hunting, our dogs are sisters. We each have Weimaraners, and
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you hear the nails clicking in the background,
okay,
that's Katie in the background running.
That's Katie going from window to window looking for rabbits.
Well, I think I made friends with Chris's dogs tonight because I brought treats for them.
Yes, Inger and Freya loved the treats.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I got to be that guy. But that's important. That's very important about the being seen, and that you're more than the disease. I often joke that with my partner Jeff. We made it all the way to COPD, and then people like you've got a weird sense of humor. No, he didn't have a heart attack. He didn't have cancer. He didn't have a stroke. We made it all the way to COPD, but he was more than that diagnosis, and I think that's a very important distinction to make. He was still Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and that's something that. I've not only learned along the way, but something that Janice and Chris demonstrated to me. Not to make this about me at all, but on a side note, I have my own chronic illness. I am a person with a relatively rare autoimmune disease called myasthenia gravis.
Yep, I know that. I'm familiar with that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so this thing has put me in the hospital a few times.
Right.
And I'll never forget. Gosh, it must have been.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Gosh, was it that 26? I think it was when I was in 2016. I was in. For my birthday in 2016. I was in the ICU in Mason City, and when you have MG and you have a flare, the first thing they do is just load you on prednisone. And me and prednisone are not friends.
And not like a little bit of prednisone.
It's a lot.
When they say load, it's a truckload.
We're talking like 160 milligrams twice a day.
Wow.
It's a lot.
What does that do to you?
That makes me, so I learned about roid rage when a nurse laughed at me when I was first diagnosed, and they gave me the very first doses of medicine for MG. And about 45 minutes later, I wanted to tear everybody's head off that was in the room.
Wow.
Even my family.
Yep.
And I looked at the nurse and I said, this is not me, but I just am raging. And she laughed at me and said, you've never had prednisone, have you?
Wow.
And so it makes me mad at the world, and it makes me unstoppably hungry.
Yep.
And so I sat in the ICU, and I got fixated one night on wanting Buffalo Wild Wings garlic wings.
Oh, were they obliging?
I posted about it on Facebook, and Janice shows up with a full order of B-Dubs garlic wings.
Oh my gosh!
And I could have just kissed her.
Yep.
Because it wasn't, oh, I'm so sorry you're sick or whatever it was. Yeah, she was sick at the same time. And she's like, I can do this. She showed up at the hospital. I was like, oh my God. And I housed those things down.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, because when that posted up, I was upstairs doing something and I didn't see it. And I just heard from downstairs, she's like, Chris, let's go. I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm not even going to ask. And she tells me in the car on the way over what we're doing. I'm like, oh yeah, of course we're doing that.
But my impression of that, hearing this story, is in this moment, even though she's sick, she felt probably very normal helping someone else.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, Willie, this is a little bit about you, and like what your process is, like how did we, how do you process all of this, so that there's something to that.
I think you process it. For me, I process it by just being extraordinarily blunt and transparent. This is what's going on.
Yes, you do.
Well, who has time for the fake shit?
Right.
Not me.
Right.
I've been down that road before.
Right.
And I'm too old for that crap now. Just call it how it is, and I want you to tell me how it is.
Right.
And I make that real clear with my parishioners here too. And it's amazing how appreciated that approach is, because we live in a world where it's expected that everything should be great all of the time. From a theological lens, I blame this on the prosperity gospel. But we also have this social expectation that everything should be fine, even when things are not fine. And when you ask me, or when I ask people that I know are also blunt, how are you doing today? That's an actual genuine question that you better be prepared to listen to the answer.
Right. You're not going to sugar. Hey, I'm not having, and I think part of my grieving process when people have asked that, it's like, how are you feeling today? And I'm really blunt with them. Just like, this is not a good day. I'm really struggling today. And it makes it's a vulnerability that people aren't expecting with all that.
I love the look on people's faces when they ask me how I'm doing today, and I tell them. Right. Because they're not it's a platitude. They're just trying to be nice. And I'm like, I don't want your platitudes.
So that all being said, I'm now curious because my mind is wandering. My ADHD is kicking in. I really want to get to the story of, Janice is sick and you're going through all of this with your friends. So, and ultimately she passes away and you step in, you take on this role of friend/minister. I mean, like what's that story?
Well, the story is that I was invited into that before her death.
Yes.
So, I remember going over and, I knew that when Chris wanted me to step in, if he wanted me to step in as pastor, he was going to tell me.
Because they didn't have a church at the time.
No.
Right.
And so, I'm not a pastor who's pushy into situations. Kind of like a family that I got to visit for the first time in 6 weeks today that has been with a child in NICU.
Right.
I waited for them to reach out to me and say, now's the time. And I knew that I was close enough with Chris to trust that friendship that, I know his wife's going through a terminal case of cancer.
Right.
Checking in with him, talking with Nate and Reagan and other friends and seeing how things are going. And I just knew that if Chris wanted me to take on that dual role and Janice wanted me to take on that dual role, they would ask me to.
Right. Sure. And we so appreciated that because we were already trying to navigate the quagmire of everybody else trying to influx their help. And it wasn't working. I mean, they meant well, absolutely. And I totally love and appreciate everybody that tried to help us, but they were, your guys are going through this. You need help. You have to let us help you. Like, we do need help, but that's not how it works. You need to back off a little bit and we will bring you in.
No.
And that's what you did.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, Lori was working at the hospice house at that time, and she was keeping me updated.
Sure was.
And someone, I don't know if it was you or Lori, let me know that Janice wanted me to come and bring communion.
Yep, that was me.
And yeah, okay. And so, I went over there. Of course, I've been to the hospice house many times prior to that with parishioners or folks that needed pastoral care. But boy, to walk in there to a room of people that you know and love,
right,
in a different capacity, and then to step in, of course, I put on my clerical, that is the outward sign of what office and spiritual care I'm representing at that time, but then also get to be the friend who is able to do that thing. And there's something very special and unique to being invited to bring your professional and vocational role into that friendship when it's needed. I'm
hearing from your voice that this was a rich experience for you. I mean, because there was a dual role. I mean, you get to do something so intimate for your friends. That has a lot of value.
Yeah.
For all of us, it had value.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm hearing this, I'm like getting this. I'm somehow painting a picture in my head of, because my own experience was with hospice house, and I know what that is. I know what the rooms look like. I know what the feel of the what everything is, and I'm just getting a visual of you coming in. And you're this dual role of pastor, friend, person, and what a rich experience that must have been.
And keeping in mind that we, as a couple, never really had a church we were comfortable in.
Right.
We never had a pastor. We never had any of that. So to finally have that,
and then Willie, and then you found
Willie,
all
of a sudden here comes Willie.
Oh, okay.
He's like, hey guys, what's going on?
Right.
You want to play in the sandbox?
I'm a pastor of the church of what's happening now. Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. We call him rerun.
Got it. Okay. I'm following the story. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay. So you go to hospice at this point. Is she at hospice house? No.
Yeah.
Didn't we do that at the house here before she went?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because she was basically completely incoherent.
Right.
Yep.
At hospice house, and she was only there for 13 hours.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I don't know your timeline, so that's why I want to be clear about the timeline.
We did that here at the house.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, in fact,
that was at the house.
In the room we're recording this.
All right, cool.
Right now,
great.
Where the bedroom was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This room's been a bevy of different activities.
I have a feeling there's some spirits in this room. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I know there is in my glass.
Next to the kettlebell on the floor there. Yeah.
And my fat bike over the corner.
And I remember coming into the house and just seeing stacks of medical supplies.
Yes.
That Chris had been using to really do this care for his wife, honoring and fulfilling those vows.
Wow. That's amazing. So okay. Well, so give me a little bit more about the timeline. So she's very sick at this point, and then her next move is hospice.
Right.
Okay. And you said she's there 13 hours, and she passes away. So how do you as a minister, how do you prepare a family and your friends for this passage?
Not
like a normal minister.
No, because it's the friend,
like a normal minister,
right? The friend slash minister. It's a whole different feel,
right?
Right, and I guess we're being completely open and blunt here. So I also, and hoping there are certain people that may not listen to this podcast. I also knew from, spending time with Chris, fishing, hunting, BSing, whatever, checking in on the phone, that a part of this navigation had to do with Janice's family. And
absolutely,
so kind of walking that line between being the pastor that certain people in the family expected a pastor to be, even though they didn't know me.
Right.
And I didn't know them. Well, but then also, yeah, go ahead.
I say, and knowing that her mom and dad still went to the church that we left.
Right. Right.
And we're still very devoted to that and very devoted to the tradition of what death and dying is supposed to look like and hospice house is supposed to look like.
Right. Right.
And them not realizing that Janice was none of that. She was not traditional. She didn't want anything to do with that. She was her own strong, independent self.
So their reality is different than the reality of their daughter.
Right. And thank God I had Willie to help me navigate that.
So he kind of
otherwise,
I want to say he ran interference for you.
Oh, big time.
Okay.
Big time. Otherwise, we'd have had some stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair way to put it. I had the opportunity, and I run into this sometimes when, especially with parishioners, when I know that there may be family conflict or disagreement, near the end of life, that kind of thing. Like, for example, I'll just pull one example from my last call. I had a couple of 90-year-olds, and both of their spouses had died.
Wow.
20 years ago, and they'd been their companions for like 20 years. Right. And so I actually baptized the husband, well, not the husband, the male in the relationship on his 95th birthday. And then I did his funeral a year later.
Wow.
And
talk about the circle of life.
Oh man. and his family like almost refused to talk or share anything with this person who has been a big part of his life for 2 decades.
The significant.
And so I didn't, like, in that case, she wasn't even part of the funeral planning officially in the room.
Wow.
But you better believe that I met with Ruth before I met with the family to make sure that her needs were met too.
That's wonderful.
And so I was, I picked up enough and read between enough lines with Chris to know that I needed to check in with Chris and see, what are the landmines?
Right.
What are the things that they need? What are the bare minimums that his in-laws will need in this case? And then what do you need?
Well, as a pastor, it's a huge, because my work with the funeral home has taught me. I mean, you observe it like funerals. This will bring people together, or it will separate them. And I really like hearing the fact that you were trying to make this bridge between the different levels of family. That's huge,
right? And I wanted to do that. I didn't want to cause problems or alienate or any of that.
Right.
But I was in such a state of mind. I didn't know how to do that. And also I was going to honor Janice at all costs.
But Willie's your advocate here.
Yep. Saved my life in so many ways.
And so, I said, let's go in. I knew that the funeral would be at Zion, and that I would be the pastor there and not any of their staff. And so I checked in with them a little bit, let them know what, it'll
as
be
a courtesy,
traditional service.
As a courtesy, yes.
Professional courtesy.
Which also gives you the insight that Willie has on things, because I thought the funeral was just going to be at the funeral home and whoever we could find would just do the service.
Right.
And he knew from the beginning, it's like, it's not going to be at the funeral home. It's going to be at Zion, and I'm going to take care of all this.
Right.
And I fielded all of that. Yep. And that's, that was one place where it was really a privilege to be able to navigate that, because that's just what I do. It wasn't, no offense, Chris, this didn't feel like anything in that case, didn't feel like anything above and beyond my normal.
Sure. It seemed like it to me. You were a superhero.
Yeah. And it's that professional courtesy I needed to do. And then also that met the needs of Janice's family. That it would be in a church, that there would be a pastor, there was going to be the standard liturgy, that we have the Lutheran liturgy, the funeral liturgy, mostly.
We'll talk about that in a second.
The funeral liturgy itself, what I love about the liturgy is that even if I didn't preach a sermon, the gospel is preached in the liturgy.
Sure.
Whether it can be the worst pastor in existence, as long as they follow the dang liturgy, it's going to be a decent sermon, or it's going to be a decent funeral. And so, I told Chris, let's just do the framework of the funeral service as we have it and as we normally do it, and his family would, or her family would know it.
Yep.
And then within that framework, there's a lot of creative license.
Okay. All right.
I love that. Yeah. How's that they say, they throw Easter eggs into things for you to find?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody, how did we get the two things that really stick out for me, actually there's three of them that I remember so distinctly from Janice's funeral. One, working out Hallelujah.
Yep.
And rewriting the lyrics for Hallelujah.
Which was amazing.
With Nate.
So Hallelujah by Cohen was her favorite song. So
yeah,
Willie completely changed all the lyrics to it for her. Nate played guitar, right? If I remember right.
Yep. Nate played guitar.
And you rocked out on your sax out for a little bit too.
Yep. Had a little saxophone.
A little jam band there. I'm going to guess the other thing that stood out in your mind, if I'm going to preempt a bit, is the meows.
I've heard this story, I think.
Oh my God, the meows. So for the listeners, let's set this up. If you've not seen the Super Troopers, there's a scene where Officer Foster is stopping cars and they're replacing the word now with meow and trying to see how many meows they can get into this traffic stop. So like, right meow, I need to see your license and registration.
It's a great stick.
All right. Willie dropped a few in there.
Okay, so what do you? Okay, you're catching up on you're picking up on it. So what's your reaction to this? Because you're in the middle of this.
Well, let's talk about first the first one you dropped. Do you remember the first one?
I don't remember the first one.
I believe it had to do with something like we're here to honor our sister Janice, right meow?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the service right now. So right now.
Yeah, meow. Right now, I'm looking at it right now.
It was part of the welcome. So
yeah.
I may not be super organized, like physically in life, but all of my professional stuff is very organized. And so Chris wondered, do you remember any of it? And like, I have the entire funeral service manuscript that I can find in 5 seconds. It's the introduction. Welcome in the name of Jesus, the Savior of the world. We are gathered to worship, to proclaim Christ crucified and risen, to remember before God our sister Janice, to meow give thanks for her life, to commend her to our merciful Redeemer, and to comfort one another in our grief.
So I caught the first one and went,
yep.
Did I just hear that? And I'm looking at him with the deer in the headlights look,
right?
And he's trying not to
make
right
there because the lectern.
Yeah, and I'm in the front row.
Right. Yeah.
And he's trying not to make eye contact with me for both reasons because we would both laugh and cry,
right?
Just like the Family Guy, and so I keep listening, and the second one drops, and I don't even remember where that one was at.
I held off until the sermon.
That's right, and so the second one drops. I start laughing.
I worked in. Yep. There's the intro. There's kind of a standard intro. The third thing that I remember from this is it's the first time I've ever really been tempted to drop the F-bomb from the pulpit.
And it would have been appropriate for her.
It would have been. I went with, this blaming sucks.
Okay.
We're here today, burying your child is painful. Watching your wife and your mother fight cancer like hell for years is something I cannot imagine. Now we come together to comfort one another in our grief. Right after the intro, and then I had 6 more of them, right there.
Yeah, I think there were 9 total, if I remember right.
Okay, so
I'm in the front row, facing my hands.
Right?
Laughing.
Right.
I'm just shaking. And I knew I had to keep my hands on my face so it looked like I was crying.
So people thought, they
thought I was crying because, especially her mother would have never forgiven me if I was laughing in the front row, right? And I was next to Jake, my oldest son, and I think my mom. And my mom actually starts putting her hand on my shoulders while I'm laughing.
She's comforting you. She's comforting you. Yeah, yeah.
In my moment of hilarity in the middle of my wife's funeral.
That's funny.
In the entire time, I'm a preacher who likes to make eye contact with folks. I've gone through my sermon. I know what's there.
Right. That's a quality of good speaking.
Where Chris is, I know where Nate is, I know where Reagan is, I know where Mindy is, I know where the group of friends are at, so that I can look at some random old person near the back of the sanctuary,
right,
and not look at these guys when I'm doing it, because I know that I would have lost it.
Well, yeah,
you started laughing
both ways.
Yeah,
it depends on the point in the sermon,
laughing,
right? We'd have been crying together and laughing together.
Wow.
I knew how much this crew loves Super Troopers, all the stupid SNL
any
movies,
stupid movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you haven't seen it, Rod? I'm not sure we could be friends anymore.
Now I'm like, where's this?
And now there's a second one out, so you got to watch them both.
Well, now Meow, I'm gonna have to see it.
Right, Meow.
That's right. Yeah. You've got to watch Super Troopers.
All right.
This is a movie that my wife would never sit down and watch with me, because the humor is too juvenile and stupid, which is perfect for our group.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, yeah, it is.
But,
that was the thing that got me through. One of the things that got me through that day.
Right. Okay. So getting to another point of this, you're doing these things for Janice and Chris. You had to have a personal feeling about this, and like what was going through this, and watching your friend, get sick, and supporting her husband, and like what was this all like? Like, what were your thoughts going through this and your feelings? Because when you're pastoring, you can separate that. But what was your personal? For
me, I'm a pastor who wants to embrace our humanity and show that, I'm fulfilling a specific role for the church. I'm an ordained minister of word and sacrament. My call is to teach and preach the word of God, to properly administer the sacraments, to provide pastoral care, to bury the dead, and to marry people.
Sure.
That doesn't mean that I'm not a human while I'm doing that. And they can be tears of joy. They can be tears of sadness. For Janice, I know that one of the greatest gifts that I could give to Chris was to both be his pastor and his friend after his best friend had died.
Right.
And the love of his life had died.
It's a great gift.
Yeah. Best gift ever. And that's not something you can do for many of your parishioners, or any of them.
No.
You have to keep that separation.
It was a gift to me, frankly, to be able to do it. Because if this had just been a general funeral that we showed up at, small country church, and it was just a standard form funeral for somebody who had died, and I'm sitting in there in the pews, knowing the people who are there who are grieving, I would have been aching to lead that service, quite frankly.
Right.
Sure.
And I got to do that.
Wow.
And that's still one of the greatest painful joys of my life, of my ministry, and that was a shitty October.
Yeah, it was.
What an interesting statement. A painful joy. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There's a lot to unpack in there.
Yeah.
There is. I want to say I did 4 or 5 funerals that month.
Yeah, I remember.
That was Jennifer's grandpa had died. One of my parishioners that I was closest to, because he was a parishioner, yes, and it's not often pastors say this about parishioners, but also a really close friend. He was a very gifted musician who had moved back to the community. He was a blind guy, had been a cancer survivor. His liver cancer came back. And Gary and I made music together. I can't even tell you how many times. And I'd gone through, I'd been working with him, gone through Jen's grandpa's death. Janice was dying, and now Janice's funeral. it was an opportunity to grieve with people that I loved and to be able to fulfill the role that I know that I'm called to do.
Wow.
And grieve at the same time.
That's amazing.
So it was healing and healthy for me.
Right.
So,
and that's the thing none of us can understand is how you were grieving. I mean, you were going through the same kind of grief we all were. And yet you were the one up front holding the room together.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let me put it this way. As a pastor, I've been to a lot of funerals, not ones that I've been leading, that are done so poorly.
Sure.
They're piss poor. Pastors that go off script, they don't use the liturgy, they don't preach worth a damn, and they don't lead worship worth a crap. Sorry, I'm going to be very...
Well, no, I work for a funeral home.
That's kind of what we do here.
No, I work for a funeral home. Yeah, you see that.
You know.
Right.
You do. And I wanted it if anybody was going to do Janice's funeral, I wanted it to be me. Not for my sake, but for the sake of Janice's family who needed a good funeral, and for Chris and Janice's friends who also needed a good funeral that was tailored to what they needed in that time.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and what's interesting is, at the reception afterwards, which, happened to be at the fire department, because I was on the fire department at the time. So it was nice to have all of that support. I was walking around and people would come up to me, especially some of the older generation on her side of the family. Like, it's just amazing how personalized he made that service. It's like he knew her.
Yeah.
Does he do that for all of the people he does funerals for? And I just look at him and said, oh yeah, no, he finds out and researches everybody he does a funeral for.
Right.
And he makes sure that he's able to do that for everyone. That's amazing.
No, you do. Working in the funeral home, I oftentimes wonder how ministers do it coming in and they don't know the family. The closest I've ever heard to that, the one priest came in and he looked at the age of the person as she was 90 something. And he said, this is what this person experienced in their life. And I just thought it was a great way of covering, this person saw the invention of, the air flight, or saw computers.
They went from horse-drawn carts to moon rockets.
Exactly. And I just thought that this person, this is the life that they saw, and how amazing, they survived a pandemic, they survived 3 world wars or whatever it was. I just thought the history was really great. But it sounds like you did an excellent, wonderful job, and you were the right person for the job.
Yeah. Well, I believe that, we're placed where we're needed.
Right.
And we are called to use the gifts that we are given, in every way that we exist in life.
Right. Right.
And in this particular case, I got to use my vocation and gifts of worship leadership and preaching and pastoral care, in music and relationships and friends, and mash all of those things together in a way that was helpful for everybody that was there.
The right person at the right time.
Through that.
Well, Willie, thank you very much for doing this. We appreciate it. We absolutely will schedule to have you back on. Absolutely. Because I think
brother, it's good to talk to you.
Lots of good stuff there.
All right, so good to talk to you too, Chris.
Yeah, man, we need to talk more.
Hey, Chris, I think we had another good show tonight. I think we nailed it. I think we got knocked it right out of the park.
Yeah, Rod, this is our circus and we are our monkeys.
This is so true. I'm really looking forward to the next show. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I am too, and I thought you were figuring that out, so I guess maybe I'll help you with that.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. But I'm really looking forward to whatever we talk about. It will be hopefully it'll be helpful. And
it'll be fun.
It will be fun. So yes,
as
fun as grief can be.
Exactly. So do not miss next week.
No.